Hi. So I'm talking about imposter programming this week, which is what I have renamed imposter syndrome as. It's programming, which means that we can deprogram it. And today I want to talk about the three key elements which contribute to the programming in women in particular. Some of these elements of programming will affect imposter syndrome as it manifests in men. But there are specific elements that I'll talk about here, which are the ways that it affects women. So not everyone's affected by all of these different things. You know, there's three different elements, and some of them might be stronger than others in each person who has it, but they all can be contributing factors to building up this programming of feeling like an imposter. The first one is your childhood and your childhood experiences. We all develop our programming from a really young age. This can start to form our limiting beliefs. It can start to contribute to how we feel about our place in the world. So examples of things that can contribute to it are things like bullying, messaging just from our parents and what we learned from them about how and when we can't be seen and heard, experiences that we might have at school about being visible and using our voice and whether it's safe to do so, things that we get influenced by teachers, and so on. There's many more. There's a lot of different layers to it, but these things all start to create programming for us that's rooted in fear and a need to be safe. And that's why we might then struggle to feel like it's not okay for us to be seen, and why we have a much deeper level of resistance to it, and that's why we build up that imposter programming over time. That's the first one. The second one is your work environment from the point that you start working up until the point that you're at now. And there's an awful lot around this, and it's about like, how well are you supported from when you start your first job? How well were you trained? If you didn't get the right kind of training for the first job that you had, of course you're going to really struggle to feel like you deserve to be there, and you're going to worry if people realize that you don't know what you're doing because you haven't been trained in the right way. That can also happen when people move into management. That's something I've seen a lot, is that people move into management because they are good at the practical application of the role, not necessarily that they are good leaders. And they're quite often put into positions of management, could go from managing no one to managing 2, 3, 4, 5 people without any training in how to be a good manager. If you don't have any training in it and you're now expected to do it, of course you're going to spend all your time worrying, oh, people are going to work out that I don't know what I'm doing. And they're going to see this and they're going to stop it. They're going to stop me and they're going to take it away. There's also things like, are you encouraged in the right way? Do you have a really good development plan that helps you grow? And again, supports you with that. Do your leaders allow you to make mistakes and learn from them? And then the other critical thing is, are there people in your environment who look like you? Imposter programming is worse for people who are in less privileged positions, or less privileged groups. So for women, for example, if you don't see any other women in positions of senior leadership in your role, in your company, how could you possibly think that you would belong there? And if you do get there and you're the only one or one of a small number, you're still going to be getting that additional messaging of you don't really belong here, because there's no one else like you. So work environment is really important contributing factor. And then finally, and again, this is one that's really particular for women, is about kind of culturally and socially what we learn about women, and particularly what we learn about women who step up, who use their voices. How women in the public eye are treated, how women with seniority are treated, how they're talked about, anytime that women are using their voices, how women's bodies are spoken about, anytime that a woman is kind of under a microscope, which happens incredibly often, this again starts to send a message kind of to all of us. It's sort of a ripple effect that says, this is not a place for you. You do not belong here. And what else could we end up thinking? But how dare I try and step up and own my power and own my abilities and own my strengths? How dare I be okay with that? I can't possibly do this because I see what happens when other women do. So all of these three things contribute to the programming. But importantly, the programming that we all hold can also be undone. You know, it is completely possible to feel like you belong in every room that you walk into, with the right work to start deprogramming some of these factors.